This show is brought to you by Nice Mug. Nice Mug is the only mug made entirely out of ice. For more information, go to nicemug.com and enter the coupon code SAUNA for 10% off your entire purchase.
Well, hey everybody! Hey, things are going great. You know, this 2-in-8 series for Sauna Talk has been really well received. If you haven't listened to the previous episode, Daryl Lampa, founder, maker of the Kuma Stove, Tower, Minnesota, please check it out. And this episode ties right in to it. This episode is with Jeff Hill. Jeff Hill is a lifelong Tower resident, much like Daryl Lampa. We talk about the Kuma Stove. And Jeff, he's been in the realtor game, land development, for 30 years. He knows every nook and cranny of Lake Vermilion, this lake that I'm looking at right here, right now, 26-mile long lake in northeast Minnesota. We're about 20 miles from Ely, Minnesota, and the Boundary Waters. There's canoes on the car racks, people driving through Tower all the time to get to Ely and the end of the road. And Jeff knows Lake Vermilion inside and out. You'll hear the intro story about Paradise Island, an island I bought in May of 1989. Jeff was the first guy I got to know in Tower, Minnesota, and I'm happy to say he's still around, still kicking, and still the same character he is today as he was back then. Generous guy, caring, very outspoken, potentially controversial, but fun. And he makes me laugh. I hope if you're listening to this sitting on an airplane somewhere or maybe driving down a road in a busy city, you know, maybe this little episode here will bring you to the North Country and hopefully put a smile on your face as well. He's quite the character. He talks about the Kuma Stove and his father buying the wood stove for the house and using 10 cords of wood to get through a whole winter in an era where fossil fuels weren't oil and gas and stuff wasn't used. I mean, people were very old school just a generation ago. Jeff ran a mail route for 20 years. He was on the Tower Fire Department for 20 years. And then we get a surprise phone-in from a guest, a guy that I hope you guys will get to know more if you don't know already. I'll save that for when it happens. And then we talk about tiny house. And the tie-in to that is quite interesting because where we were taking a sauna is at my lake cabin. That sauna, and I'll try to put a link in the show notes, but if you want to see that structure, I encourage you to take a look. All you got to do on saunatimes.com is in the search bar on the right-hand side, just type in these two numbers, 1216 in the search bar, and it'll. The reason why those numbers work is those are the dimensions of my what Jeff calls Insta Cabin. That's 12 foot by 16 foot. Anybody thinking about building a sauna and having more than just a sauna and a simple changing room, I think you'll appreciate the structure and the design and the multi-function of my island sauna. And Jeff had his hand in that, what he calls the Insta Cabin. My office, a wonderful guest cabin. As a matter of fact, my wife and I, we would elect to stay down in the sauna guest cabin when we would have guests to come up because we love the space down there so much. We would just relinquish our master bedroom to our guests so that we could take a vacation on our own property and go down to the guest cabin. There's a great story, switching gears, there's a great story that Jeff has taught me. It's never lock your sauna, and you'll see why, especially the winter time. By not locking your sauna, you send good karma and positive vibrations out to folks who may get held up, may run into slush on the lake, who knows what. But having a sauna ready for people is the right thing to do in the North Country. We talk about jumping through a hole in the ice, then back to this tiny village thing. it's significant. This tiny village has got millennial written all over it. In that, folks that are younger, maybe that don't own their own real estate, they're very excited about experiences instead of things. And tiny house plays into that. So Jeff's got a project that he's brewing with regard to a village of tiny homes. So we'll see about that and see where that goes. And then we talk about the fundamentals of a good sauna and steam, the steam effect, 3 rounds. And then, if you don't like the experience of a hot tub, which I particularly don't like, all that chemical stuff on my body, and who knows who else's sweats in there and that water and stuff. So Jeff kind of summarizes pretty well, and I'll let you listen in on that, the parallel between a hot tub and a sauna. And then we talk about a mobile sauna on a pontoon boat up here. And, Jeff says, get your name in the game. And up here, you get up and out at 7 a.m. if you want to make money. And I think that can apply anywhere. Get up, get going. Then we talk about something I encourage you guys, anybody have high blood pressure and stuff, I'd like to get some feedback on Jeff's cocktail. You could try it out. So without further ado, I'm just going to dive right into this podcast today. Greetings from Northeast Minnesota. This is the 218 series, and welcome, Jeff Hill. Hey everybody, welcome to Sauna Talk. It's a gorgeous August evening here on Pine Island, Lake Vermilion, and I'm just so overjoyed tonight to be sitting here with a friend, dear friend, a guy I've known over 25 years. Actually, the first guy I got to know on Lake Vermilion is my realtor, the guy who sold me the island I bought in 1989. And a little backstory on Jeff Hill. To tell you what a neat guy he is my girlfriend at the time, Julia. She became my wife. She and I came up on a Thursday evening to look at this property, this island, and Jeff took us out there on his boat, and we checked it out. And I knew right away it was what I wanted. And Jeff, we just took a liking to him, and we went back to his office in town, in the town of Tower, and we wrote up the paperwork, and he called the owner. Remember Margulies was his name?
Richard Margulies, yeah, that was his name. He was an attorney down in Des Moines, and he came up here. Then his wife left him. You know how that goes. And then one thing led to the other. He wanted to put it up for sale, and he didn't make a good profit on it. He put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, and I mean the price was right, and we put the deal together in about 20 minutes. And again, to Jeff's character, we walked across the street to the Tower Bar, the local bar, the municipal.
Yeah, the Muni municipal liquor store, yeah.
And bought
us. The White House used to be white, so they call it the White House.
Yeah. And bought Julia and I a beer or a drink, and said, "You're cabin owners." Remember that, Jeff?
Yeah. I think if you back up a little bit, I let you kind of try before you buy,
Well, okay. See, you remember that a little differently. I think the try before you buy is, in a realtor's term, correct. But as I remember the sequence of this thing, we drove up Thursday evening. Yeah. At like 7 o'clock, we had the paperwork signed, and Julie and I had no place to sleep that night. Yeah. And then what happened?
Yeah, I think that's, when I told you, I said, well, go back out to the island and sleep there. I said, the guy, he don't care. He wants me to get it sold, and I'll take responsibility. Go out there and enjoy it.
And that's what we did. It was all done within an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I remember that night. You remember certain things in your life like really well. I was 26 years old. Julie was my girlfriend. I just not closed, but I signed a purchase agreement for my own island. And then Jeff lets me and Julia go stay the night out there. I mean, Jeff, in all of the real estate transactions that happen in this country, I would say that there's, that first of all, that would never happen today because of liability and rules and God knows what, right?
We were dealing with 2 pieces of paper, one to list it and one to sell it. Now it's the size of a Minneapolis phone book, the folder.
So how long were you a realtor, Jeff?
Oh, I was licensed for about 25 years in it, and in Minnesota and the state of Colorado. And then I've done a lot of real estate development in between there. So I've been in and out of the game 35, 30 years.
Wow.
RJ and Dave in the morning.
So, Jeff, let's talk about sauna. I mean, that's what people are listening about. And I got to say, let me just give you my quick connection. In 1985, 86, 87, I was over in Scandinavia. I came back to the United States. I moved to Minnesota because of the topography that I love about northern Minnesota. And I found Lake Vermilion and I found Jeff Hill and the whole idea of the property. But you were the first guy I met up here in 218. And we didn't even talk sauna when you were my realtor, but very quickly after that, you came over to my dock, and you started taking me around to saunas on Lake Vermilion.
Yeah, kind of remember that. I think one time we got a little bit tipsy and we kind of went out there and I went on Ely Island, that log cabin sauna. Yeah.
Tell us about that cabin sauna.
Yeah.
It was on Ely Island.
Yeah, we were around there and we said, I know this guy, you don't care. And we go light a fire up there and
he was the teacher in town?
Yeah, he was a teacher up there in Big Fork there.
Right.
Yeah, and we toured a lot of saunas and I built one out at my place. And what do you buy, like 10 sauna stoves already? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had a Kuma on his stove, as his stove, didn't he?
No, I think he made his own. I had a Kuma at my place, and there wasn't that many getting around, as many as you thought. The hills up there in Sedan, they all had Kumas. They were big Kuma fans. But Daryl sold those things. He was kind of working in the community. He worked in his little area, that he wanted his friends and stuff. So that's how he promoted that.
So you're speaking about Daryl Lampa, the Kuma stove. So now, if you go back to that period of 25 years ago, he was developing and selling his own design of sauna stoves. And you were probably one of the earlier guys. Your first Kuma stove was bought, 30 years ago, Jeff?
Well, my dad bought one when they first came out. We had a big old house and insulation hard to heat, and he got into this. He bought one of Herb when it was great. I think back then it was $395, and because Herb Lampa, Daryl's father, had designed him. And Herb was a real smart man, and engineering and stuff in the background, and. Yeah, we had one in our house, and we heated a 1,600 square foot house on 10 cords of wood.
Wow. And the thing about Tower, Minnesota is in 1995, I think this record still holds. And February 2nd, 1995, minus 60. It's the U.S. continental cold record that's still held for over 20 years. So if there's any community that knows the importance of wood heat, I would say it's this area up here in northern Minnesota.
Yeah, 60 below out there. You go outside and you spit into the wind, and it'd come back frozen. I wouldn't take a leak outside either, because you never know what happens. You could plug up, But that's another story there. But yeah, it get cold out here. People come up and they say, "What are you doing? It's that ain't cold." And I go, "Stay inside, duh."
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of action outside. I remember talking to an old timer who actually drove that day, and the deal is with your tires is there was a flat spot. Did you ever encounter that?
Oh yeah, it's really bad on the snowmobiles. The tracks get stuck, and you got to put a come along on them to get them going again. And the drive belt squealing on them, burning off. Cold weather's tough. My rule of thumb: when it gets below zero, I'll ride the bus. I ain't messing with the car.
Right. Well, that's smart. So, 25 years as a realtor, you've had an illustrious career up here, and you were born in Tower, right?
I was born in a Sedan hospital. Right in Sedan, Dr. Moeller's, 1954.
And besides realty, didn't you run you run a mail route for a bunch of years, Jeff?
Yeah, almost 20 years. I run the Star route around Lake Vermilion and Vermilion Lake, the surrounding areas, about 100 miles a day, and delivered the mail for that, and yeah.
And tell us about your work with the fire department.
I put 20 years in at the Tower Fire Department ambulance service. Did a lot of, I sound like Donald Trump here, great things. Pat myself on the back, which you never get credit for, but we provided a lot of programs, Ballard Turnbull and I, rest his soul, that have lived on and have provided a perpetual source of income for the city of Tower and the ambulance service and its employees, and also enhance the medical care that we can provide out in the field.
Well done. So back to sauna. As you look back, growing up in this region, Tower, Minnesota, on the shores of Lake Vermilion, what is your first recollection of sauna? And just tell us listeners here a little bit about what sauna means to this community up here, Jeff.
Oh boy, you'd have to ask me that. When I was a little kid, my dad would go down to Stanley Anderson's house. They were Finlanders down. His dad, Arvid, he had a sauna in the basement, and the guys, I couldn't have been, I don't know, 6, 7 years old, and I just thought it was kind of weird, all these naked guys going behind the door out there, but I didn't say nothing, so that's the way it goes.
And so you'd be invited in with the dads.
Yeah, I didn't want to go in there, though, those guys running out, and I got that little mushroom cap there, and I wasn't going to compete with that, no way.
When did you first start enjoying sauna?
Probably, I suppose 14, 15 years old I started, and then every piece of property I bought, once I got interested in it, really had a sauna in it, and I've always liked them.
Yeah, right on. And would you sauna jumping through holes in ice ever?
Done that, been there, done that.
Yeah. What's your opinion of that?
Well, you got to watch it, because when you go in a sauna, your body gets hot, and you jump in the snow, and if the snow is crystallized that night, you'll actually cut yourself. And I've seen it happen, and you'll be full of blood because your skin's so tender. You're like you're cooking a gall darn turkey or something,
Right on. I'm joined remotely here on telephone by John Peterson back in Minneapolis. John, say hello on Sauna Talk.
Glenn, hey.
We're here with Jeff Hill, and I got to tell you, John, Jeff is a dear old friend. He was the realtor that sold me my first island on Lake Vermilion. He got me introduced. Yeah, right on. He got me introduced to the Kuma stove, and he and I way.
Are you guys in the sauna? Are you recording an episode as we speak?
We are recording an episode live right now. Yeah, JP, and I got you on speakerphone.
On beautiful Lake Vermilion.
On beautiful Lake Vermilion. It's a gorgeous night, and I'm so
responsible for the Vermilion connection.
You know what? We would have found I found Lake Vermilion, but Jeff was the realtor who sold us the property. Right. But we just got.
Helped you connect the dots. That's epic.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you. And it's so cool to have him up here. We got the sound on idle. We are not in round one yet. We're trying a little different format. We're just sitting here, totally relaxed. I'm on Jeff's standard time.
I better go check that sauna. Remember what Daryl says? You turn that thing up, that thing will dance right across the gall darn floor, for Christ's sake. We can't have that.
So we have to. So Daryl Lampa is very cautious about overheat. Too much oxygen in the fire, in the stove.
Wait, you got Daryl Lampa in there too?
No. We're gonna get him next. We're gonna get, yeah.
Daryl likes to have a few. Yeah, he'll come out here. Yeah.
Well, okay. So JP, it was very rude of me to call while I'm on the phone here, or on the recording here. But I wanted you to say hello to the audience, and any. I'm gonna call you back. But any words for the listeners?
Well, I just sent you an album that would be perfect for your sauna.
Right on.
Do you do music up north?
Oh yeah.
Or is that?
Yep. Well.
Yeah. It's like it's called Bear's Den. It's like Kurt Weill time traveled back to 1989 and produced an album.
Nice. I love the recommendation, and we're gonna pull it up. The Bear Den.
Yeah, pull it up. Sample. I think. What do you get? You get like a few seconds before you have to worry about copyright infringement. Don't you?
No, we'll get it going, and I'll check in with you, and I appreciate the call, JP.
Yeah, glad to know you're in the
Nice
sauna on a
talking
night
to
like
you,
tonight.
JP.
That's
Right.
what I was just
Oh,
make sure.
hey, no, John and Jeff, you guys need to talk. Jeff is the pioneer of this tiny village with the tiny house project.
It's got the most hits on. It got the most hits on my website of any article I posted. When I posted that post, you told me to make that. And I never knew anybody. We kind of surprised them on that one, didn't we?
Yeah.
It got the most hit, like 70 hits in a couple of days.
See?
What? Can you explain that to me? Like that was a. Did you write that, Glenn?
I don't know. Sorry. Is it the one I wrote or the one you wrote?
I
was
linked
like a
it to the
stream of
Facebook
consciousness.
page. See what I wrote in there, that thread,
Yeah.
and I put that over there, and I did reproduce the whole article on a cut and paste.
Okay, so before this podcast is over, folks, I promise you we'll circle back to this. And JP, I'll check in with you on it too. Is that cool?
Circle back, fill it in with a few verbs and vowels.
Okay, duly noted. See you, buddy.
Enjoy
KMG
your
365.
sauna, guys.
Okay, so let's dive into this now, folks. That's John Peterson. He ties into this Sauna Talk in a great way because he's into this tiny house thing, and Jeff Hill has been into tiny house for before the term existed, right, Jeff?
Yeah, well, yeah, it started with the Insta cabin here. We came out here, and Glenn said, he goes, "What's the first thing I need on property?" I says, "Well, your island property. You're coming from mainland, dock. Duh." Yeah, you can get out of your boat. Yeah, that's a good idea,
So we built a dock, and then
Yeah, and then we started this cabin. And I said, "You need a place." He said, "What's the next thing?" I said, "Well, you need a place to keep your tools, so you ain't hauling them back and forth." He said, "Well, I'll build a shed." I said, "Well, if you keep it this amount of footage, you don't need a permit. If you want to make it a little bigger, get a permit, real easy to file." I said, and tell them you're planning on putting a dry sauna in it with a little cabin. And who designed that out for you?
So this sauna guest cabin that we'll be enjoying here, and there's a link to a post on Sauna Times. It'll give you guys some images of this, but it's a 12-foot by 16-foot sauna guest cabin, porch, and my office. So multifunction.
Screened in porch. That's a really nice feature of it. You go cool down there,
That's right, right.
Secondary cool down.
That's right.
Yeah.
I like that. Secondary cool down.
There. Then go jump in the lake. Yeah.
Or the other way around.
Well, whatever comes first depends what time it is and how far in a cocktail hour you are.
Well, and how many rounds you've had in. I mean, that's the beauty of sauna in a way.
I taught you that 3-round method, didn't I?
Well, the 3-round method has been confirmed from multiple people in multiple continents. And I find that is a beautiful thing about sauna is these universalities, right? Close the door being rule number 1, right, Jeff?
Yeah, well, we talked about that door deal when you first came out here. You said, "Well, I should lock this up." I said, "Well, put your tools in a secure spot or something and then leave it open." He says, "Why is that?" Well, in like 1965, they were running the Ski-Doo snowmobiles, the old 10-horse, chunk, 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 didn't go very fast, And they hit open water in Little Narrows, which there actually always is, but they didn't know it. It was late at night.
You think they were 612ers?
No, they were local people, and they went around the point. And Warren Craignas, my great friend, the State Bank of Tower, he had a cabin, and he left his sauna open. And he told us, "Why do you leave your sauna open?" He said, "Somebody may go through the ice and need to get warm and may save your life," and that's exactly what it did.
It's amazing. Jeff taught me that, and I apply it. And when we close up our cabin, the sauna never gets locked, and that's a Jeff Hillism. And I think if it doesn't have its own post on Sauna Times, it really should, because whether you're in Finland or Sweden or Canada or Lake Vermilion, where we are here, it's just such a comforting thing to see saunas dotting the shoreline. It's this. Right,
Back then, I went on Ely Island, Harlan Ciro, that was his name. He built it out of cedar logs. We hauled every one of those up the hill, so that's why I got free sauna. I'll tell you what, drug a nut out on that one. We got him up there, though, and it was always open. He said, "Jeff, if you ever need a sauna, stop on by. You know how to operate it." That's how it was back then.
Right on. And I'm just projecting here, but there's a lot of um, Finnish political ethos of more of a socialistic vibe, like where people look out for each other. Is there a corollary there, Jeff, or am I reaching? Do you think about how the Finnish people by nature are very community spirited, and in an economic thing, they kind of follow a more socialistic mode than a capitalistic mode. Am I reaching here, or do you think there's a corollary between Finnish culture and leaving the sauna open?
Well, the Finnish, that was the family bathhouse. Everyone went in there, and that's how you bathe. You didn't have running water back then.
And it was community based. The sauna's open if you want it.
Absolutely, come on over. Sauna nights on Wednesday at Airho's place, and down at Toivo's there on Thursday night. So you can make the sauna rounds up here and just have a sauna every night if you wanted.
That's great. That's great. So, did you ever hear back to the sauna? Never locking your sauna. And what I do in my sauna is, and again, Jeff taught me this, is I'll have some, birch bark in there, a few sticks of wood, and I even make the joke, Jeff, it would be fun to leave a couple bottles of cognac, little airplane bottles of cognac, saying, "You poor sucker, I'm on your team," right?
Yeah, well, the neat thing about that is you leave it set to go like that, and somebody needs it, they can get in there. Otherwise, when you come there, it's all set to go again.
Yeah.
It's just common sense, man.
Yeah.
This isn't rocket science here. It's just being kind to your neighbors and friends. That's what it's all about.
So, Jeff has developed properties on Lake Vermilion. He's purchased them himself, as probably many enterprising realtors would do. He's built his share, mainland and island, and has been a great, inspiration about the idea that he just referenced about you have a main cabin and then you have a sauna as a separate structure that is a multi-purpose space. And we can kind of get into some of the values of that, how a sauna as a separate space, offers its own value. But I would throw in the mix, Jeff, and interested in your thought, is that it's even more paramount, the idea of a separate structure for sauna. It's even more paramount at lake cabins and homes. And you want to touch on any of that? Is that?
Well, yeah, it's nice to have the sauna by the lake, and I believe the restrictions, if you have a dry sauna, I believe yours is a dry sauna because we haul the water, and once you pressurize water, you don't need pressurized water. Water falls out of the sky, for crap's sakes, What the hell you need it pressurized for, Yeah, totally. We complicate life more than it really should be.
Oh, well said, well said. And these separate structures up here for lake cabins or, cabins and that it works great with extended family. Like Jeff tonight is going to be staying at what he calls the Insta cabin, which is the sauna guest cabin. He'll be staying down there tonight in a 12 by 16 space, perfectly adequate. When you have guests that come up,
I might not leave yet. I brought a suitcase out here. You know that? Yeah, I got my mobile office right in there. You may not get rid of me that quick.
So I may have to change the internet password so it'll send you away.
Oh, no, I'll get around that in a hurry, yeah.
All right. So we talked about no water, no pressurized water. For those thinking about building a sauna in the woods, by a mountain stream, by a lake, where maybe there's no electricity, Jeff and I think are totally in alignment. We just want to encourage you guys that you like he says, you keep it simple. Right? With your sauna, it doesn't have to have running water. It doesn't have to have electricity because the fire creates the heat, and it's a natural process of a very minimal requirement. Wouldn't you say, Jeff?
Real simple solution. Just put some troughs on the metal roof off there and throw it into a bucket. You'll never run out of water. Not up here, you won't.
No. But if you're building a sauna where maybe water is more scarce, hey, you got to deal with that. I don't know what you're going to do, like dig a well or whatever. But predominantly, saunas work where there's water, streams, lakes, islands.
It's a big attraction, They'd go and jumping in the lake. I've seen the mayor do it. The governors have done it. That's a challenge. And once you experience it, it's quite the feeling, quite the experience.
It is. The backyard shower is great. idea of dumping a bucket of water over your head. Sure, these are wonderful things to complement a sauna round. But as Jeff says, there's nothing like jumping into a lake and just looking out at nature between rounds, cooling down on the dock.
Yeah, but
Right.
those darn rusty crayfish taking over the lake, they come bite at your feet now. We didn't have those back then,
No, what the going to hell in a handbag, isn't it?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into a couple. I'm just trying to think here. I got a couple of rapid fire questions for you, Jeff. But I'd like to, if you wouldn't mind, tell the listeners a little bit about the parallel between this sauna building, the outbuilding at a lake cabin and whatever, and the functionality of a sauna, and how it sort of has propelled you to start thinking about tiny houses, and also add to that a little bit about what's going on with Jeff Hill.
Well, the tiny house concept, anyone can build a tiny house. They're putting them on wheels, and that just scares the living crap out of me. Pulling that behind your gall darn Subaru, going down Interstate 90, and I don't think that's a good deal. I just don't think it is. So I want to build
the portability, like, don't move tiny houses, or just
I
move
want to
them
have
once.
them on skids, and we'll call a professional mover in. If you've ever been to North Dakota, it's done all over the place. They dump them off like dumpsters, They're just roll-off carts, because we're talking some of these houses are built out of storage containers and stuff like that. So I want to go with the panelized construction. But I'm not into building tiny houses. Anyone can build a tiny house. Any contractor can throw it together. The problem with the tiny house market is zoning will not let you put it there. I tend to work with the state legislatures at the state level in the state of Minnesota, so Tiny Village USA can develop a plan similar to what Oregon and Washington, very proactive into the tiny village. And they've got a thing created there where they're taking their water lines, coming a 24-inch water line, and putting these turbines in them that are propelled water turbines, and they're generating enough to feed 500 homes of water that's already doing. We need to reduce, reuse, recycle, and then reuse something again and give it a new use that fits into with today's plan.
That's a beautiful thing. So where did you first hear about? Where did you just formulate your ideas about the tiny house village, like the village concept?
Well, there's a lot of organizations out there on the internet that they all go to the trailer house. You do this and do that, and I just don't like that idea because they're working against different zoning laws. And I haven't heard anyone go out there and say, other than a couple of states that have been real proactive to getting these. One thing they're doing, these big subdivisions for the muckety mucks. They had these things with big lots on there. The bank, during the real estate crash, they lost their ass. The banks took them back. They sold them for 10 cents on the dollar. Well, nobody's going to build a big house anymore. So they took these and they redeveloped them so you could take a 10-acre parcel and put 50 houses on it and rearrange the subdivision.
And this is where, Jeff?
I believe it's been done out in Washington and Oregon. They've done similar things that are, so they've created this density zoning for them. And what's neat thing about it, it's your community. It's not my community. I'm helping you get that. You have a voice. You're on a board. It's a cooperative. It's grassroots governments pairing and sharing at the root level.
That's a beautiful thing. So, Jeff, for those interested in learning more about what you're up to with the Tiny Village, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can give me a call on my cellular phone number, which I answer, and I do return all my calls, 218-290-3949. Or you can look us up on the website, register on our site, www.tinyvillageusa.com. And we will pop up there, and we'd like to see it and like to hear your input.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone listening to this podcast is out there in Oregon and and knows about these villages that exist there and wouldn't mind connecting Jeff with the folks responsible for those villages out in Oregon and Washington, I think it would really help Jeff's effort because he's a pioneer here in northern Minnesota. And we have no legislation that allows this. And I believe in Jeff's vision. He's a real giver, and he understands the economics of this program too about affordability, right, Jeff?
Yeah, and like I said, I'm looking for your input, and we're going to have some spots opening on the board for board directors and stuff. And yeah, talk to me. I want to hear from you.
Nice, right on. So we're gonna go in and take a sauna, but Jeff, should we just rest it for a little while? I got a few more questions about sauna. What do you think? All right. Okay, we'll be right back at you, folks.
This show is brought to you by Sun Country Airlines. Sun Country is staffed by cheerful humans, and wherever Sun Country flies, they are competitive and keep the airfare honest. So whether I'm checking out Temescal in Tulum or the Archimedes Banya in San Francisco, Sun Country Airlines is the first and last place I go for decent air travel.
So Jeff, just a couple of questions here. Getting back on the sauna thing, tell us what like a true Finnish sauna is in terms of the process. Obviously you get the fire going, and when it gets up to temp, it's sauna time, right?
Well, each one has their own different temperature. I like. I'm old school. A 160. It depends on the time you want to take the sauna. If you want to sit in there for a long time, maybe 140 is comfortable. Every body is different. If you want to take a quick sauna, crank her up to 210. Put her at 210, and you'll be out of there real quick. It's whatever time you got on your hands. That's what it relates to my book.
Yeah, well said. We were joking about 3 rounds, and you said to me, I taught you that, Glenn.
Yeah, right. The 3-round deal. Well, people always say they come in a sauna and they don't have enough wood in there, especially if your wood isn't dry. If that wood is wet, you're not going to get those rocks hot. Those rocks have to be hot for that sauna to kick out heat. It's just not going to be as effective. Otherwise, you throw the water on there and you're going to get more like a burn instead of the steam effect because of the too hot of it. So the 3 rounds is, you take your first round dry. The sauna's meant to be dry heat, and everybody sweats at a different level. So I like to do it in 3 rounds. If you can jump in the lake after 1, that's fine, and 2-3 rounds, and then adding water on, that's a whole nother talk about it. I'm sure Glenn will want to talk about here.
Right. No, and Jeff was formative for me, and what I love, to his point about the sauna and a dry sauna and all that, it's the beginning. I think you said it once, this is 20 years ago, where you said you only get that feeling once at the beginning of your sauna where the room is dry. That moment only happens at the beginning or through round 1. Then the whole vibe changes.
Right, it's all about the humidity. You go down to Arizona, they say it's 100 degrees down there, and it's, well, it don't feel that hot. Well, that's because it's dry. You go down to Florida where the humidity is 80%, 87 degrees, you can't stand it down there. Yeah. So it's all about the humidity in your body. Each one has their own body temperature and reacts differently to this.
Yeah. So I've taken that upon myself, and I learned it from Jeff. I know it's not anything, Jeff claimed. A lot of people that love sauna, including probably many people listening here, understand that you go in the sauna and what you don't do is throw a bunch of water on the rocks. You go into the sauna at round 1 and you acclimate and you build your body temperature up. And then when your round is, we were talking about the drips of sweat and you're counting in this. Right. For me, it's like when I just know when it's time to throw water on the rocks for the first time.
It's your own preference, what you feel like. And the other thing, when I go in that darn sauna, the first thing, especially you got inexperienced people, I tell them, you sit over there, I'm sitting next to the stove, and I control the damn water. Don't be touching that water. But otherwise, they throw it on her, they're throwing their beers on there, they're farting in there. Oh, my God, what a mess.
Yeah. So a good sauna meister understands when, a good sauna, especially if it's your sauna, it's not a bad thing to control the water being tossed on sauna rocks. Because I love that, at that magic moment after, as round 1 matures, you hit that, a nice dose of water creates this wonderful lolu, the steam comes wafting down, and you just embrace it, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I've seen people use like a piece of sheet metal and put it on the top of the stove, and they claim that the steam will come up there and roll around right at you. And I've seen that to be effective in a lot of saunas.
I have as well, and the barrel sauna I can throw it under the bus, but what it does do well is it circulates moisture. It's a good design from that level. And there's a guy, Owen Christensen, up in Duluth, Minnesota. You'll be hearing more about him. He is building saunas with a slope ceiling in the hot room because he says it rolls the heat in the steam better.
Right. Because I believe it's Sisu Saunas. My friend George Rule makes a barrel sauna, and I'll tell you that's a whole different experience all in itself because the heat just rolls right around you, and it's very very even.
Even heat, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well said. Very nice. So Jeff, a couple of rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything more you want to say about sauna?
No, you're doing good here. I'm just a guest here tonight. I might stay for a week though.
You brought your overnight bag.
I did. I brought my whole office here.
Okay.
I run the whole show from here.
So Jeff, we've talked a lot about mobile sauna, and if you could have a kick-ass mobile sauna and bring it anywhere in the U.S., the world, wherever, where would you bring it and why?
Well, I think Lake Vermilion is a good candidate. Like I learned a couple days ago, I learned about these experiences that people like to have. In my day, we're on a click material thing. We call it junk, And what's the difference between shit and stuff? Well, my shit is stuff and your stuff is shit. Well, that's the damn difference between that stuff. So I want to create this experience for people to come up here and enjoy. And I'd like to have some saunas around the lake. I think it'd be a huge attract. Everybody get drunk up at Bayview and Vermilion Club, pile in the sauna half naked. Who knows what's going to happen?
So maybe this mobile sauna would be on a pontoon boat then.
Oh, that's an excellent idea. We talked about this before now, didn't we? Yeah. You thought I was crazy then. Well, I'm still crazy, but that don't mean nothing.
So the answer to your question then would be on Lake Vermilion. Your idea, if you could bring a mobile sauna anywhere, would be on a pontoon boat on Lake Vermilion, so a pontoon sauna.
Well, absolutely. You could pull up to someone's cabin, they could rent it and say, well, at 7 o'clock we're going to be on Birch Point. Give us a call and we'll pull up to your dock and you can go, and we're going to be coming around Daisy Bay, and you have different little routes you make. Duh.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say duh. I'd say
well,
great idea.
Entrepreneurs, come on, get your name in the game here. You got to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning when the birds sing if you want to make money up here.
Okay. So, Jeff, what one thing about sauna do you think is, as you think about what others around the country or that aren't as familiar with sauna, what one thing about sauna do you think is misunderstood that you'd like people to understand about sauna?
Well, they think you're going in there and it's a sweaty place to go, and I don't know if they'll like it. And, I don't know. A lot of people like the hot tubs. And I say, well, if you like a hot tub, you've never experienced a good sauna. Once you get a good sauna, you'll never go back to that goddamn hot tub throwing bubbles up your butthole.
So how would you summarize that then, Jeff? I mean, what do you think is most misunderstood about sauna? That
how could you misunderstand a sauna? It's so simple. You just throw some wood in there and throw some water on the rocks and wash underneath your arm, fart, and go up to the cabin.
So maybe they think it's a little more complicated.
Absolutely, and they just they've never experienced it. That's the reason. Once they experience it with somebody that knows how to run a sauna, like my friend Glenn here, and what I've taught him and what input he's given to me, we just pick each other's brains, just steady back and forth, and it's always one for one, and that's the way it should be.
That's nice. That's what friendship is the give and the take and the sharing.
Yeah. I always said a good deal is, everybody says a good deal is when I steal something like that. No, the method of a good deal is when you both of you, buyer and seller, do two things they don't want to do, and everything else is immaterial. That's how I see a good deal.
They do two things they don't want to do?
Don't want to do. Each one does two things you don't want to. Forget about the things you want to do. Give me two things you don't want to do that he wants to do, and two things he wants to do that you don't want to do. Now you got a good deal, because every deal has at least two things in it that somebody doesn't want to do, and that's what you fight with at the closing table.
I see. So your point to that then is, if you acknowledge what the two things are,
right off the bat, don't waste any time. Well, you're not going to have it your way. You know, it's not the Burger King. You're not going to get it your way. It's going to be a compromise. A good deal is a fair bargain between two parties bargaining in good faith. People got to understand that. Donald Trump doesn't. He has no idea of that.
Okay. So Jeff, rapid fire.
Trump guy, he's a bad one. Boy, I'll tell you that. Don't vote for Trump. Okay. Vote for Trump. No. Okay.
So
Okay,
rapid.
Political advisement here.
Okay, so was that a advertisement?
No, I don't know. Vote for Trump, and Bernie ain't gonna get in, but maybe write him in. I don't know. He might make it.
So Jeff, so sauna, another rapid fire question, I guess, come to mind. If you could take a sauna with anyone, dead or alive, in the world, who would you like to sit on the sauna bench with, and why?
I've never really thought that question out because there's some people I wouldn't sit on the sauna bench with. I think that's a better way to answer that. And I'd take a sauna with just about anybody. And I don't think it's who they are or what they are. It's what's in their heart that makes difference to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I see. I hear the heart before I hear the mind. Yeah. It's not what they say to me. It's what they don't say to me that I listen to.
So do you think that comes out a little bit more on the sauna bench, and that you could sort of judge who's worth?
Conversation is really good. I've had some really deep discussions in the sauna. You're relaxed. You're letting it all out. You know, a little soft music going, a beverage or two. You know, it's just a way to convey thoughts. There's no cell phones in there. Those damn cell phones and texting. That's all bullshit. You know, I have a policy with me. You come talk to me. You shut your phone off because if it ever rings, I'll leave. That's my policy. That's just rude, you know.
And you won't get that in the sauna.
No, you can't. So the phone will melt in there. Too hot for phone. Yeah, Samsung warranty won't cover it. I tried.
So one of the unintended benefits of using foil bubble wrap as an insulative barrier in your sauna hot room is that it's much like the microwave, where a cell phone won't work in a well-insulated sauna with foil bubble wrap.
Yeah, stuff's bad for cell phone reception, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, Jeff, I really appreciate you being part of Sauna Talk. It's
to be out here, and I'm just having a great time sitting by the lake. I haven't had a day off. Having my friend Glenn here. We're sitting on Pine Island, looking out right to where my old cabin used to be, where he used to come over and see me on the boat. I can remember the time when the O.J. Simpson deal came on. Glenn came over. He said, "You got to turn on the TV. You got to turn on the TV. O.J. Simpson is running on a chase." And I cranked up the damn generator, turned on the TV, and away we went. So we've been friends for a long time, and I love him to death. He's my bro, man.
That's well said, man. And Jeff, there's things about people, that I gravitate toward, and I've always been more attracted to a shepherd than a sheep.
Yeah, we've been at odds sometime too, but
sure.
we're friends. We get back together.
Yeah,
we agree to disagree.
Right. And you are not a sheep. I will say that one. You're a unique thinker. You don't go with conventionality. And I think that if
you
more.
You taught me to think outside the box.
Well,
you taught me that, boy. Look outside the box.
Yeah. So Jeff, last one on sauna is when you think about the entire sauna, like this sauna, okay, is probably
the best one on Lake Vermilion. What the hell are you talking about? Well, Harlan cereals are, but I know some packsucker about that damn thing.
Okay, but so when you think about your sauna experience from the actual beginning of it, like as it started this morning, like I'm going to go out to Pine Island and take a sauna. Yeah. You could say that's the beginning of the sauna experience till right now. Like we're done with the sauna experience, and you could even argue that the sauna experience will extend to when you put your head on your pillow tonight. So I'm framing this up when you think.
I sleep good tonight, right by the lake out here. The loon howling in the background. Oh my God, this is truly God's country up here on Pine Island.
Amen. Amen. As you think about that whole process, what one moment do you enjoy most in the sauna process? The thinking, the planning, the building the fire, the round one, round two.
Well, I actually like to start the damn sauna, and Glenn knows that. I come up many times, let me start that thing. You from 612, you don't know how to do that shit, you know. And I have my way of starting it, and I taught him the little paper tray. We tear it into like confetti, like stuff by tearing the edges. You got to tear it the right way. You can't go against the grain.
Or birch bark.
Or birch bark, but that little feather, that thing, it really makes it start quick, you know.
Yeah, right on. So as you think about the sauna process, you know, the whole spectrum of beginning, middle, end, rounds, sleeping, whatever. Like when someone says sauna, like what is the one part of that sauna experience that you enjoy most, and why?
I enjoy two parts of it. I enjoy the heat, and I enjoy all parts of it. The steam coming off the rocks, the jump in the lake, the whole thing. But the cool down time is really special and really beneficial. And I've monitored my blood pressure during this, and it's amazing what your blood pressure does from when you get out, what you get at, because you've conditioned your heart and your cardiovascular system to go up to a level it hasn't been on before, and then it cools down slowly, and sooner or later you can achieve different levels of that. So the benefits of health, you know, and again, you have to consult with your doctor, like all advertisements say. But it's those old Finlanders live to be 100 years old, and that's because they go sauna, a lot of them, every night.
Yeah, right on, right on. You touched on. I'm so glad you said that. You touched on something. Can you share with listeners a little bit about blood pressure specifically? I'll put a link to the post on Sauna Times about Jeff.
I wrote that one for you. Yeah, that on that blood pressure, and I've done studies. I was a first responder, an emergency medical technician for many years on the fire department. So I still have my jump kit. I carry it wherever I go. I brought it out here. Glenn kind of laughed. I said, "You never know when you're going to have an emergency." And I have another thing I say too. I said, "You never know when you save a life, but you sure know when you lose one."
Wow.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Have you lost one in your work?
Many of my fellow workers and stuff, and
is it hard to talk about even today?
It is. Those people are your brothers. You work with them. Your life depends on them. Their life depends on you.
Back to the blood pressure thing. So share with the listeners a little bit about
your. What I found with myself is I use this little mixture I throw on the rocks. It was in the last post, and it's real simple to make. You just take a cup and you boil the water in it. And once you get it to a boil in a cup, I want you to add some garlic salt and some cinnamon. And I like to use green tea, ginseng. What's that other good tea that everybody drinks?
Ginger.
No, it's not ginger. It's ginseng. Ginseng tea. Really good. And you mix that all together in there. So you got garlic, you got cinnamon. You can even throw a little bit of honey in there if you like, you know. Sweeten up the load a little bit. And then you boil that up and, you know, just kind of experiment with it, you know, see what fits your need. You didn't get it too strong. It might be a little, you know, hard on you. So go lightly on it and see what you like the most in it.
And when you say go lightly, you're talking about what process?
Well, I'm the, you know, the sprinkle thing in there, you know, Martha Stewart wouldn't approve.
On the rocks?
No, I'm talking in the cup before we put it in the microwave. And then I take one of these Folgers coffee things that are just perfect, get handles on it and everything. And I pour that cup, I mix it all up in that cup of water, everything all mixed up nice and hot. And I throw it in there, make sure it's all mixed good. And I throw cold water, because you don't want to throw hot water in the sauna. It defeats the purpose. You want the steam effect right now. Right. And I have found, I have high blood pressure. I take medication for it. If I take a sauna every night, it will lower my top and bottom numbers after the cool down by 20 points.
And that sustains itself through the night?
When I get up in the morning, it might be a little bit higher, but it's not within levels that I'm concerned about.
Wonderful. And so this cocktail you're speaking about, you bring that down to the sauna, right?
Right, and the Folgers coffee thing.
And then what? And then what do you do?
Reduce, I reuse, I recycle everything. That's how I do things. You know, I
And-
get a couple uses out of it before I throw it away. You know.
Right, right. And so, what do you do with this cocktail, like this mixture?
Then I just take a little cup I have and I dip in there. I got my little special cup, you know, and I throw it on the rocks and then just breathe in, real deep, breathe in. It'll find out, it'll clear your sinuses. It'll take care of it if you got the feeling in your nose when you blow your nose, it bubbles out of your ear. It'll take care of that. It just opens up your pore. And garlic is a natural for lowering blood pressure. So what you're doing is putting huge amounts into your system to get the effect immediately. You know, it's kind of like that drug addict shooting up, man. You're right there, you know.
Because it's going in every pore.
Every pore in your body is open and it's going in there. And try it. It's tremendous
So it's
result.
a gentle mixture.
But again, consult your doctor. Make sure before you're capable of taking a sauna. I have to say that.
Right. You're talking about a gentle mixture of garlic,
Yes.
green tea.
Green tea or ginseng or whatever you got. Sometimes I put in that sleepy time and but you hit the sack. Oh my God. It's lights out and the dreams are sweet.
And what was the third ingredient?
The garlic. So you got and the cinnamon cinnamon also has, for people that have high blood pressure lowering quantity, cinnamon is very, very good for your system. Cinnamon, honey, garlic are very good for the body.
So you came about with this cocktail, this recipe, this liquid to be tossed on sauna rocks,
Right.
and you extracted some of the pardon the pun, but you came up with this because you know that these compounds are very good.
You know, I do a lot. I'm well read on the internet, and I read a lot of things that come across Facebook.
Garlic, good for blood pressure.
Absolutely, it's all it has been. You know.
Cinnamon, good for blood pressure.
Good for blood pressure. Ginseng improves mind thinking and encourages things like that.
So your deductive reasoning, Jeff, was let's take these compounds, these
it's
things,
a cocktail,
and put it on the sauna rocks.
Absolutely, absolutely. Try it out. You know, there's different things they make. Eucalyptus oil you can throw on there, which has some benefits too, but it's expensive. What the hell? You mix it up in your house, save some money.
Love it. You know, one of the things, and this is, we're going to try this for sure, and I appreciate the recipe, Jeff. You know, one of the things that I enjoy is we make a tea of balsam. So, Jeff, what we'll do, and this is total natural, right on Lake Superior, right outside of Tom's sauna, is a balsam tree right on the deck.
I was going to cut a couple of cedar trees and I come do like the old Finlanders. They slap you on the back. Now, that's therapeutic, too. Cedar
Absolutely.
There's a lot of things they're finding. There's this... there's a chonga that grows on these birch trees.
Okay.
And I have a friend that uses that, and I'd really like to grind up some of that and throw it over to sauna because that is huge. The Chinese are paying incredible prices. You can sell it on eBay. It's chugga or something like that.
And
it
it's
grows on birch trees, and it's all over up here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so the Vita is what you're speaking about, where you take young growth branches from the birch.
Or from a cedar trees,
Yep.
Birch trees, they use those too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the cedar is nice in that the cedar oil is on your skin.
And then you slap each other on the back, and what it does is open up your pores. See?
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. That's good. So what we'll do is we'll make a balsam tea, and this is not as a whip or whatever.
Balsam, that's just a weed up here. Yeah, that's a 612. People come here, look at the nice pine trees. They're freaking weeds, man.
Yeah.
Norway's, white pines,
Right.
jack pines.
No, I completely agree.
Absolutely.
Balsam are weeds. And balsam have a really bad rap because they're so flammable. They're the things.
Oh, you throw them in a fire and they just boom, they just explode, But it only lasts for like 19 seconds,
So the balsam have been blamed, and I think rightfully so, for creating fires up here, where the natural pine are resistant to the lightning fires of the woods, and so what happens is that when you have balsam, is it creates that thermal plume fire where not good.
No, and then the popple trees too. They get dry, an air conductor. They call them aspen out in Colorado, but they don't grow like our popples. Our popples grow big. The aspen is a much smaller tree. If you see a 6-inch diameter, it's a big tree.
Yes, up in the altitude. So, Jeff, wonderful to have you on Sauna Talk.
Yeah.
Love talking sauna.
Yeah, come on, it just made my day because I've been, my father passed away, and I've had a lot of grief to deal with, and kids and you know the stories and all of that. Everybody falls down, you got to get back up again.
Thanks for listening to Sauna Talk, folks, and we'll be back at you with another episode hopefully soon.